afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Today we are going to practice the expected questions of January 2023, part 1. So let's start. How important is the internet to you?
Internet is very important for me because it helps me in my academic task.
How often do you use the internet?
I usually use internet during the daytime because I have to complete my college assignments, so I usually use it in day.
Do you use it more for work or in your free time?
Honestly speaking, I usually use computer more for my academic task rather than for leisure activities.
Okay, what are your favorite websites and why?
Well, I like to use various kind of websites, but the most preferably Kalyani Publishers is my favorite website as it helps me in completing the MBA related assignments.
Okay, let's talk about weather. How is the weather today?
Weather in my hometown is cold today because winter season is about to start.
Okay, what is your favorite kind of weather?
Well, I like the moderate weather because it allows me to do the outdoor and the indoor activities effectively.
Okay. Does the weather affect people's lives in your country?
Yes, sometimes weather affect the people's lives, specifically the elders, because they are not able to cope up with the frequent changes of the weather. So sometimes they feel sick.
Okay. Is there any weather you really don't like?
Well, I do not like hot weather because it is tough for me to go outside for doing the outdoor activities.
Does bad weather ever affect transport in your country?
Yes, during the rainy season when the weather is cold, at that time roads are usually filled with water because of the potholes. So at that time, people do not prefer to commute from one place to another place.
Okay, let's talk about TV. Do you like watching television?
Of course, I'm very fond of watching TV. Whenever I get leisure time, I like to watch comedy shows.
How often do you watch it?
In the evening, I prefer to watch the TV with my mother.
Do you like watching TV shows from other countries?
Yes, sometimes I prefer to watch the TV shows which are telecasted in other countries. Takeshi's Castle is one of them.
What is your favorite TV show?
I'm very fond of watching Takeshi's Castle as it is a Japanese show because it is based on games.
What was your favorite show when you were a child?
When I was child, I was very fond of watching cartoon and the name of the cartoon is Noddy.
What are the most popular TV shows in your country?
These days, youngsters are fond of watching the reality shows. Specifically, they are attracted by the Big Boss.
Let's talk about sports. Do you play any sport?
Yes, I'm very fond of playing cricket.
Okay. Do you watch sports on TV?
Of course, I am very fond of watching sports on TV. Recently, I watched the T20 World Cup.
How do people in your country stay fit?
In my hometown, people like to keep their body in shape by doing exercise and by eating healthy food.
Is it important for children to play sports?
Yes, it is mandatory for children to play sports because it helps them in keeping healthy and also prevent them from becoming prey of many fatal diseases.
Let's talk about food. What is your favorite food?
I'm very fond of eating South Indian food as it is delicious in nature.
Are there any foods you dislike?
Yes, I do not like to eat spicy food because it is not good for health.
Okay. What are some traditional foods in your country?
There are various kind of food which are popular as conventional food in my hometown. Usually in winter people are like to eat mustard mash with cornbread.
Okay, let's talk about your house. Do you live in a house or flat?
Well, I live in a house and this house was constructed by my grandfather in 1969. It has 3 stories.
Okay. And which is your favorite room?
My own room is my favorite room because I have decorated it according to my own taste.
Is there anything you would like to change about your house?
Well, I am satisfied with the structure of my house, so I do not like to change anything in it.
Do you plan to live there for a long time?
Of course, I prefer to live there for a long time because a lot of childhood memories are associated with this house.
Let's talk about fashion and clothes. What kind of clothes do you normally wear?
I like to wear formal clothes as I am a student of management.
Are there any traditional clothes in your country?
Yes, there are various kind of traditional clothes which are popular among the people. Usually people like to wear Punjabi turban and female like to wear Punjabi suit.
Where do you usually purchase your clothes?
Well, I like to purchase my clothes from the local shops because local shops provide the clothes in a pocket friendly manner.
Do you care about fashion?
Yes, I pay attention to the fashion because I think people should follow the trend as change is the law of nature.
Do people from your country think fashion is important?
Yes, some people think that fashion is important. However, other consider comfortness more than the fashion.
Okay, have you ever bought clothes online?
Well, I have never bought clothes online because I think it restrict the customer to get the physical experience of the product.
Okay, let's talk about your childhood. Did you have a good time growing up?
Yes, my childhood days were very memorable for me because my parents helped me a lot in my nurturing as they have provided all the facilities to me.
What is the first childhood memory you can recall?
I would like to recall my first childhood memory when I went to school for the first time.
Okay. Did you have a large social circle during childhood?
Well, I do not remember it, but my mother say when I was a child I was conservative, so at that time I did not prefer to interact with lot of people.
What do you believe is best for a child, city or country life?
I think city is the best place for a child to live because city provides all the facilities which are mandatory for the upbringing of a child.
Let's talk about neighborhood. What do you like the most about your neighborhood?
Well, there are various things which I like a lot regarding the neighborhood, as my the people who live in my neighborhood are friendly in nature.
Okay. How can your community be improved and why?
I think community can be improved if people will start living in a peace and with unity because this help in making their relations more cordial and stronger.
Do you prefer to live in the center of your town or on the outskirts?
Well, I prefer to live in the center of the town because it allows me to get all the facilities without any delay.
What are the activities that you can do in your area?
Well, there are various activities which I can easily do in the area where I live because the place where I live is close to gym and close to the environmental park where I can go for the physical activities.
Let's talk about transport. What is the public transport service in your hometown like?
Well, in my hometown, public transport services are really up to the mark because majority of people like to use public transport for commuting purpose.
Okay. Should people use public transport more often? If yes, why? If no, why not?
I personally believe that people should use public transport more than the private vehicle because it helps in dealing with environmental issues in future.
How can public transport be improved?
I think public transport can be improved if the government use the taxes which are paid by the human being in an effective way with honesty on the public transport.
Okay, let's talk about reading. Do you enjoy reading books?
Of course, I like to read different kind of books. Specifically, I'm fond of reading the detective novels.
What book have you recently read?
As I'm a student of management, recently I have read the Human Resources Management book.
What did you like about the book?
The various aspects which I like about the book is that I have gained lot of knowledge regarding the managerial aspects of the book.
Is there anything you disliked about that book?
Well, there is nothing that I do not like about the book as I really enjoy the book.
What are the advantages of reading a book?
There are various advantages of reading a book. Reading helps in improving the reading skills of a person. Along with this, people can get the knowledge of various kind of vocabulary. Apart from this, by reading a book, person can become a knowledgeable.
Okay, let's talk about free time. What do you usually do in your free time?
As I said in my previous response, I am very fond of doing physical activities in my free time.
Okay. How much time do you get every week for this?
Well, I usually like to do physical activity every evening with my mother.
Do you have some hobby or interest?
Yes, I am interested in drawing the things because since my childhood I have a passion to draw different kind of sketches.
Do you want to try some other activities in your free time?
Of course, I want to learn new kind of things in the free time. So recently I have learned cooking from my granny.
How has spending time in leisure changed over the years?
Yes, in the past, people like to sit in the center of the village in the shade of a tree and discuss the various things about their personal life. But now they prefer to go to shopping mall for cutting their leisure time.
Okay, let's talk about travel. What do people do in your town during their free time?
Well, I cannot make a general statement here, but I feel majority of people like to go to shopping mall for spending their leisure time.
What places do you visit in your free time in your hometown?
Whenever I get leisure time, I like to visit the historical monuments and some religious temples.
Okay. What are the famous tourist places in your hometown?
Kila Mubarak and Mirror Palace are the two places where usually not only the people of the hometown like to go, in fact, it attracts the globetrotters from the different corner of the world.
Okay. With who do you usually spend your holidays?
I usually like to spend my holidays with my father as I have a good bond with him.
What do you do on holidays?
As I said in my previous response, on holidays, I and my father like to go to religious temple.
Where would you go if you could go anywhere for a holiday?
In future, if I get a chance to go a particular place at that time, I like to visit Vrindavan as there are many religious temple, and I wish I could visit there with my father.
How do you feel traveling during holidays has changed over the years?
In the past, people avoid to travel during the holidays because of the lack of accessibility of public transport. But nowadays, they can do traveling easily because they have a easy access of transport.
Okay, let's talk about shopping. How much time do you spend in a week shopping?
I do not like to do shopping weekly. In fact, I like to do shopping once in a month, and usually I do the activity in
Okay,
10
do you
minutes.
enjoy shopping?
Of course, I'm very fond of shopping, so I enjoy this activity very much.
Where do you usually go shopping?
I usually like to go for shopping in the local market as I can get all the things from there at affordable prices.
All right. Is there any problem related to shopping in your area?
Yes, there is a huge problem which people like to face while buying the things, as they have to do bargaining with the shopkeepers because nowadays, due to inflationary, the prices of the products have reached at the peak of the sky. So people like to negotiate with the shopkeepers, which has become a hectic task for them.
All right, let's talk about snacks. Do you like snacks?
I do not like to eat snacks as I'm a health conscious person.
Okay. Do you think snacking is a healthy habit?
I feel that snacking is not a healthy habit because it contains a lot of oily and fatty contents which put negative impact on the health of people.
What were your favorite snacks as a child?
When I was a child, I did not prefer to eat snacks. Since my childhood, my mother kept away from me these kind of food items.
All right, let's talk about season. Do you have a favorite season?
Yes, I like the rainy season a lot because I love to drench in the rain.
Why is this season your favorite?
As in rainy season, I can enjoy the beauty of the nature. Apart from this, I love to enjoy the beauty of rainbow.
How often do you check the weather and why?
Whenever I have to go outside, I like to watch the weather because it gives me a hint of what kind of the atmospheric conditions will be there.
Have your plans ever been affected by the weather?
Yes, sometimes weather has affected the plan of going out. I remember vividly last Sunday when I had to go out at that time due to fog, I dropped the idea of going out.
All right, this is the end of this session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.